My name is Elizabeth and I'm biking solo all the way from the Netherlands to Copenhagen. And now you're joining me on the first day in Denmark. After a nice boat trip that brought me to Getze, today I will bike to a small place called Herbeulen. So let's dive in. As you could see in my previous video, I had the time of my life while being on the ferry from Germany to Denmark. And now, as I got off the boat, the adventure in Denmark could begin. To the North Cape! No, I'm just kidding, of course. I'm going to Copenhagen. And off I went in this new country. And I couldn't wait to see how Denmark looked like. But first I had to cross this long path of nothing. Soon I encountered the first houses of Denmark. And however, besides the flags, looking back now, it wasn't really anything special. I, however, really enjoyed biking through this first village a lot. Not long after, I left Getze and I biked into the nowhere. Some moments later, I passed this mill, which made me doubt whether the boat dropped me off at the correct country, as so far the landscapes have been really flat as well. Biking further, the vibe, however, did feel different than in the Netherlands. Something nice about biking here was that I was now biking on bike route N9, which was mentioned along the route with signs, which I will show you later on. And this also meant that I encountered some more cyclists on the road, which I really liked. After I biked through some small villages, my route led me into nature, which resulted in beautiful surroundings and also some challenging paths. Next, things started to get really bumpy as my navigation indicated that I had to go to the right here. And so I did. And although the path was beautiful, I wasn't so sure if this led me into a direction where I could bike. And then I encountered this. Welcome in Denmark. As you couldn't really fall from high, I just went for it. And it was actually pretty easy. The climb afterwards up this dike was perhaps even harder, but the views at the end were worth it, and so was the road afterwards. But first, before following the right path, I had to take a closer look at the beach. And it was stunning. After enjoying the view for a bit, I however needed to get back on my bike as I had still quite some kilometers to cover. Luckily, the whole route was beautiful and there were many more options to have some more views of the beach. So, every once in a while I got off my route and went on a detour to the water. It was at this point I really felt like I was a bit in a rush, as I wanted to hang out here a bit longer, but I just couldn't time-wise. This was because I kind of misplanned the amount of kilometers for today's ride, as the ferry to Denmark already took me around 2 hours, which meant that when I came off the boat at around 1 o'clock, I still had to bike 65 kilometers. So yes, I was in a rush, but it kind of had a good reason. However, I didn't let that feeling of rush get a hold on me. So when I saw all these beautiful flowers, I got again off my bike and absorbed my surroundings. Biking in this new country, I felt that I again was more open to all the impressions than before, and I could really enjoy every part of this new environment, which includes some more flowers. And right after these lovely flowers, I found myself again on an interesting adventurous path that felt like it was disappearing, but luckily it wasn't. After some chilling at the beach, the sceneries of my route changed a bit. And as mentioned, as I was following Route N9 to Copenhagen, on my route I saw all of these signs that would lead me the way. And interesting enough, besides seeing more cyclists, I also loved being on this route because I felt like I was a part of something. A part of the group of cyclists that did the same route. Time to lunch at this beautiful spot. And before jumping back on my bike, I first had to take in the stunning views. And back on the road. As this is my first bike day in Denmark, I must say it doesn't disappoint. The route is so diverse and beautiful, and the air feels so fresh. I really like it. I don't know why, but every time I can hear the water, I need to take a look at it. Because look how beautiful. Then I'm entering Hesnas. Seriously, how do you pronounce all those names? And again, another sign. I really feel like I could ride this route without my navigation on, as it is really well indicated. Here I felt like I was entering someone's property, but luckily that wasn't the case. As I was really enjoying this route so much, I will now let you enjoy it also for a bit as well, but then without me talking. Stunning, right? I also can't believe the diversity of landscapes I have already seen on this first bike day. Cute shop attention, it's sometimes good to not have that many space to buy things. Besides the big variety this route has to offer, also the weather makes this first day in Denmark absolutely great. As I was enjoying the route to the fullest, something unexpected happened. I encountered a ferry which I had to take to get to my final destination for today. And I hadn't watched the map closely, so this was a total but fun surprise to me. However, I was lucky as I was just on time for the last ferry ride for the day. So if I would have arrived 10 minutes later, I had missed the last boat. So after buying a ticket and hanging around for a bit, I got on the ferry, which as a boat lover I of course really enjoyed. And off I went. Besides me and the two workers on the boat, there was no one else, which made it I had the boat for myself. And within around 15 minutes, the ferry brought me to the other side. Once I was back on the road, the route was again beautiful. However, there were some more cars which drove quite fast, but luckily they all passed me with a lot of distance. Then I entered this very long sort of bridge, which gave me the feeling that I was biking to the North Cape. And I could literally bike here all day long because it was so nice. But be careful with what you wish for, because at one point it did feel like I was biking there all day long, as the end of the road didn't seem to get closer for a while. Eventually, this sort of bridge did come to an end, and the by now familiar landscapes returned. Familiar but wonderful landscapes. Denmark, you are great. Then I finally reached my destination for the day, Heerbulle. At this point I was really glad that I was there before it was getting dark. So as I read that you could just pick a spot, I chose a nice place for my tent and made myself ready for the night. As it was already around 7 o'clock in the evening when I arrived at the campsite, it didn't take too long before the sun was setting. So after I pitched my tent and took a shower, it was already quite dark outside. But I still had to cook, so I did that in the dark. And here comes a funny story, because after a very long day, first on the ferry and then on the bike, I arrived in Herbola, where I found out that there was no supermarket close by. And yes, you might guess it already, I didn't have any proper food with me anymore. So, yes. The only thing I had left was a small bag of rice, a little piece of chocolate, and some nuts. So, yep, after a long day of biking, that was my meal. Yes, you can laugh. While cooking the rice, I also charged all of my electronics and I tried to ignore all the big spiders that were coming alive during the night. And after finishing this amazing meal, I brushed my teeth and went to bed. So that was it for today's video. Thank you all for watching, and as usual, if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. In the next episode, I'm gonna explore more of this beautiful country and I have some interesting experiences in a supermarket. So see you there. Bye bye.